So this video started out as me just thinking I was swapping a coil pack and fixing a problem. What it turned into being was doing some more diagnostics than I thought I was going to have to do. So if anybody out there has a cammed out LS, probably knows how difficult it can be to trace a misfire, and we walk through that in this video, so stick around and check it out. What's going on, you guys? So we're back at it, doing some work on this car. Like I said last time, we had a misfire issue at Grid Life, so we pulled the plugs on it and everything. We diagnosed it down to a coil pack, but before we put it all back together, I kind of want to run a compression test on it. So we're going to do that real quick, run a compression test on it, make sure everything checks out. As long as everything's good, put it back together, and take it for a test ride. So this gauge, if I remember correctly, reads like 35 psi low compared to some of the other ones I've used. I also don't really have high cranking speed or anything like that right now. I should probably throw a charger on this. But the cylinder we're concerned about is number 8. So basically we're going to pull compression numbers on everything and just make sure everything is like close at least. So let's focus on what the actual pressure is reading on here and more the differential between cylinders. Because I'm not sure I actually trust this gauge. So say they're reading like 130, 140 on all of them, except one cylinder's reading like 90, then we know we got an issue. So basically what I'm doing to turn this over, I just got a little wire right here. I loop onto the starter and then touch it to the power and crank it over. So yeah, it's reading like 135, which normally would concern me as being low, but I'm going to run the rest on all the other ones and see where we end up. Alright, so this is the cylinder that I was most concerned about, so let's find out. $140. So right now we're between 135, 145 on this gauge. So far, so good. Now, I should note I am also not doing a hot compression test, primarily because this thing needs an oil change and with the coil pack still on there and all that, so I just let it sit, do a cold compression test. Like I said, we're just looking for differential numbers right now, but so far we're looking good. $145. This bank's such a bitch to do with these coolant hoses here. I hate heat wrap too. Is there anything I can throw over this shit? Oh, sweet. The most difficult one to get to went in first try. I have no complaints with that. Watch, this one's gonna be like super low on compression because it went in so easy. I really should just wire up a bump button in this engine bay. Yep, that's not good. Watch, this one's gonna be like super low on compression. I definitely called that one. It's 125, 20 psi lower than our highest. What's weird is that wasn't even the cylinder I thought we were gonna have an issue with. Another 145. About like 138. Yeah, that's down 13% compared to the highest cylinder. That's quite a bit. So the rest are all within like 5-6%, which is good. It's in a good ballpark. 13% is a bit high. Really need to do a leak down on it, but I don't have a leak down tester that actually works, so I'll need to order one. I definitely don't have the funds or time to do a rebuild on the motor right now. That was going to be kind of like an off-season deal to actually like tear it down, go through it, new bearings, gaskets, rings, all that shit. I guess I'm just going to keep pushing forward for now and throw the new plugs in it, throw the new coil pack on it, and just run it, I guess. Maybe later if I can get a leak down tester for it, I'll pull that plug back out and run a leak down on it and see where we're at. For now, I just want to get it back running, driving, and moving. It didn't burn anything, so it like wasn't smoking out the tailpipe. It wasn't burning any oil. It's not losing any coolant. Brand new head gaskets on it from when I did the lifters. Could be a burned valve, maybe a cracked ring land. I doubt it's a cracked ring land because I'm running pretty big ring gap on those. Compression's too high to be a hole in a piston. Did punch a front crank seal out though. The fact that it punched the crank seal out kind of makes me think there's excessive blow-by in that cylinder. The pistons look good when I pulled the heads off. There were no issues with the pistons. There weren't any cracks, burns, nothing like that. There weren't any cracks or burns or anything like that in the piston. The piston looked fine. They're diamond pistons. The tune is good, so it's not like I have to worry about it running lean. It wasn't running lean at all. If anything, I'm guessing it's probably valve. That or something going on with the rings. But I guess for now I'm just going to finish throwing it back together and throw a new coil pack on it and fire it up. Just finished swapping this coil out now. Tighten this all back up. Plug this bank back in. Probably do an oil change on this real quick too. We're gonna go ahead and do an oil change on this real quick. Throw it up in the air. And after we do the oil change, fire it up. So I probably should clean all this shit up too while I'm at it. All the oil from when the seal blew out. Should probably clean all this up. Alright, so we got new plugs, new coil pack, fresh oil change, wiped down, cleaned up. Only thing left to do now is fire it up and see how it runs. Sounds a little off. Yeah, I don't know. Something still sounds a little off with it. It's a good way to catch fire. Yeah, I don't know, man. Something still sounds off. And it sounds off on this bank. This will require further diagnostics, I believe. Alright, so here's the deal. Diagnosing a misfire on a cammed out V8 can kind of be difficult to hear when you just start like unplugging coils and injectors. It's kind of hear if one's falling off or not. Sometimes you got to unplug two and then, or unplug one and then start unplugging another one to see if you can hear it dip a little bit easier. I'm having difficulty hearing that. I can kind of hear all these cylinders dip out when I unplug them, but this side I'm actually having trouble hearing. So I'm not sure if it's actually a misfire or if I just can't hear it. Now, one way to go and diagnose something like that is with exhaust gas temperature, so you can tell the temperature of the runner if that cylinder is actually firing or not. Now, I don't have EGT probes in every single cylinder, but there is a better way to do it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run out real quick and go pick up a infrared thermal gun, and that way I can actually check each runner temperature. Now, it's probably going to be a little difficult to read them because of the header wrap on them, but hopefully there will be enough differential there that I can actually tell if it's firing or not. And while I'm out, I'm going to pick up one of those inline spark testers just to, you know, it'd be a good tool to have anyways. I don't have one here, so I'm going to go grab one of those and just check and make sure all the plugs are actually firing, make sure we don't have like a grounding issue or something like that. I tried checking the grounds out earlier and everything came up good. Coils tested fine. So maybe I'll grab one of those. That way we can test for misfire both of those ways. And, you know, I don't know. We'll have to see. So I'm going to run out and go grab that stuff real quick. All right, so I have the laser gun right here, the thermal gun. Basically, what I'm going to do is start it, let it warm up, and then go over each runner with a little laser deal there and check the temperature and see if any of them are running cold at all. And if they're running cold, then that means that cylinder's probably not firing. So I'm going to fire this thing up, let it warm up for a second, and start checking. So it would appear that this thing is down 2 cylinders. Those back too. Definitely running cold. So we can see this one was up to around 600. That one's in the 500, 400 mark. And this one was down to like 200. So that back cylinder is definitely still not firing even after doing a coil pack on it. So that back cylinder is down. So now that I know what cylinder's down, I think what I'm going to do, I already put a new coil pack in it. It's possible that it was a bad new coil. So what I'm going to do right now, just to do a quick hot swap check, is I'm just going to swap like 2 of these here and 2 of the wires and see if the cold cylinder moves. If the cold cylinder moves, that means we got a dead coil. So I'm going to do that real quick and then swap this and this. So now the only thing we've changed is the coil firing the cylinder. If that's not it, then I'm going to go check the spark plug wire, do a unplug and put my little spark gap deal in there. After that, I'm going to swap an injector and see if it moves with that. So I'm going to fire it back up real quick. Alright, so we got no difference with the coil swap, which means that coil pack I threw out is probably good. Shit everywhere. On today's YouTube video, Shane digs through the garbage. So this thing's actually probably pretty good still. No sense in throwing it out. that wasn't the issue. Okay, next we're gonna check the wire. Alright, so ignition side of everything seems to be fine. Swap injectors, I guess. Okay, so our injector is now on cylinder 2 from cylinder 8. So it should move the misfire there if that's the issue, but who knows? I'm thinking we may have 2 bad injectors, because this cylinder is now cold and this one back here is kind of cold too. Alright, so I think it's one last ditch effort to check and make sure that those 2 injectors are the ones acting up. I'm going to take them out of this bank and stick them in the back 2 runners there, which I know are running hot, like at proper temperature. Those 2 back runners have been extremely consistent with their temperature reading. So I'm going to pull the 2 injectors that I think are bad out of this side, put them in that side, take those injectors, put them in here, and see if it follows it, because I just want to make sure that it is the injectors. I'm not sure if they're sticking. Maybe they just have a nasty spray pattern. You know, maybe it's the race fuel that fucked with them. I'm not 100% sure. The injectors have been in this motor for 3 years now, so they could just be going bad and might need to get rebuilt. So I'm gonna go ahead and swap those injectors to the other bank and then check it one last time. Alright, I'm going to let this warm up for a minute and then we're going to check the temperatures again. I think it's safe to say it is the injectors. That back cylinder was consistently running in line with the average of all the other ones. Once we swapped the injector we thought was bad over to that one, it is down 250 degrees now. And this bank is all back up. I think we got some bad injectors, so at least we know what the problem is. And hey, maybe somebody needed to know how to diagnose a misfire like this, and you know, this will help somebody, you know, walk through the process of how I trace down what an issue is and where the misfire is, and how to move that misfire to find out what the actual problem is. One of these little thermal guns, man, I have one at work that I use. They're like 25 bucks. And they can do wonders for diagnosing misfires, so definitely recommend picking one of these up. But I don't have injectors I can throw in this. I have a set of 1300s, but the car is not tuned for it. I have a set of 1000s that are the same CC as these, but they're a different manufacturer, so I don't just want to mix and match different injectors. I don't know how good the data is in comparison to these injectors, so I don't just want to throw another set of injectors in it that are a different brand and hope for the best. So getting a new set of injectors, it's going to have to go back on the dyno and get retuned again, obviously. So I don't have them. I don't have a dyno I can just throw my car on right now. So for now, it's going to be it for this one. So thanks for watching, you guys, coming along this little journey of thinking my engine is toast to just finding out it's an injector. So it's good news. The low compression in the other cylinder, I went back and retested that with it hot, and it actually came up quite a bit along with the other one, so I'm guessing the rings were just stuck on that. So they ended up being all within right around 10%. The average was like 6% within one another, so we're still pretty good on compression. The one is slightly lower. It's down like 10-11% in comparison, but that should be fine for now, at least to get by the end of the season, until I can re-ring it and bearings and all that good stuff. So Like I said, it's going to be it for this one though. So like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel if you're new, follow the builds along. Until the next one, I'll catch you guys later.